So in order to heal the gut and reduce inflammation, I've created what I call the 2R protocol. And the first thing that we do, the first R, is to remove. And the goal here is to take out dietary irritants. And the second is repair. And that's just to add in food and supplements that help the gut heal. So let's jump right in to the things that we need to remove, okay? All right, I know what you're thinking. Wheat, oh my God, I love it. But wheat is one of the worst offenders, and not just because of the buzzwords that you hear like gluten. It is the who's who of anti-nutrients. So I'm just gonna walk through a few of the things that are in it. There's another chemical in there called agglutinin. I can't even pronounce it, but it is also inflammatory. Gluten, what that does is it helps the gut cells release a protein that breaks the tight junctions in our gut apart. So basically, gluten causes leaky gut. There's a sugar that feed bad gut bacteria. There's things that provoke allergies. There's phytic acid, which sucks nutrients out of the body. There's things called lectins, which damage the gut lining wall. And this is crazy, but they started doing this recently. They are covered in pesticides. Farmers spray Roundup on their crop just before the harvest to kill them. It gives them like a 10% increased yield. So even if the wheat isn't genetically modified, you're getting a wheat that's full of pesticide. Can you see why you wouldn't want this to be a staple of your child's diet? Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is sugar, everyone's favorite. All right, so I'm just going to walk through a few of the things here. In the gut, sugar feeds bad gut bacteria, yeast, and other pathogens. So the bad guys in here, this is why you have those cravings. Yeast and the bad gut bacteria, they need to get fed. So that's why you have cravings. So when you start to balance out that gut, guess what goes away? Cravings. So with a kid who just only eats a certain thing and that's all they want because of the cravings, as you start to balance that out, the cravings start to go away, which makes life much easier, okay? Also, inflammation. Chronically high blood sugar levels has been linked to inflammation in the brain. We just went over what it does in the brain when you have high levels of inflammation. No bueno. Learning and memory. In 2012, there was a study at UCLA which found that diets high in fructose, which is just another word for sugar, hinders learning and memory by literally slowing down the brain. Want your child to do worse at school? Give them candy. Simple as that. Slows down the brain. And they found another study, they did rats that overconsume fructose had damaged synaptic activity. So I know it sounds crazy, but just it means that communication among the brain cells were impaired, okay? Mood. So sugar contributes to symptoms of depression. And how it does this is it messes with the neurotransmitters and basically overworks them to where they diminish the supply of serotonin. And they mess with the pathways. So cognitive flexibility, I think you guys can understand this one, which is basically the ability to switch between concepts. In one study, mice were fed a high sugar diet, and it showed to reduce their cognitive flexibility, just all due to changes in the microbiome. So if you want your children to be inflexible, feed them more sugar. Now, sugar is in almost every food and in every package, so it's really difficult to eliminate altogether. So the goal here is to reduce it as much as possible. Now, next week, I'm going to show you how you can find those hidden sources of sugar in our food and the best ways to get that sweet taste without damaging the body and brains of our kids. And just a quick example of how this can affect, especially when you're off of it. Tiffany, a girl I work with, she has been on the 2R protocol, her entire family, since the beginning of the year. And her son been doing phenomenal and, improving behavior, all this, doing really, really well. And, grandparents, they took him to a birthday party and, as grandparents do, oh, have whatever you want, have the cookies, the cake and everything else. And he did. And what happened was on Monday, tons of gastrointestinal issues, just a maniac. Couldn't go back to daycare for 3 days. They kicked him out first day. So I had to go pick him up and was out of work for 2 days. It's crazy. If you guys want to learn more about how sugar affects the body, there's a movie, I believe it's on Netflix, but it's called Fed Up. Really, really eye-opening and how that affects the body. So I would take a look at that.